Welcome to MS unMasked, Our Journey and Beyond, a podcast where hosts Justine Martin and Allyson Brown share their personal experiences, insights and practical advice on navigating life with multiple sclerosis. Each week they delve into topics such as self-care, nutrition, exercise, sleep and symptom management. Join them as they explore the physical, emotional and mental aspects of living with MS, providing a supportive community for listeners touched by this condition. Get ready to be inspired and empowered on this incredible journey through MS unMasked, Our Journey and Beyond.
Hello, gorgeous people out there in podcast land. How are you all today? I'm in sunny Queensland on holidays, but I'm also working. How does that go? Work, holiday, work. And I've got with me, as always, our lovely co-host, Allyson. How are you going today, Al?
Hello, everybody. If anyone's watching the video, they'll be able to see that I'm in a beanie because I'm in Geelong and it's bloody freezing. Whereas
I'm in
Justine, that's right. She's probably in a singlet top out on the beach. But yes, it's pretty cold down here. But I'm glad that you are in the warmer weather.
How cold is it today? What is it?
I don't know. Maybe it might have reached a maximum of like 16 or something like that.
Let's not tell you it was 29 when I walked inside here. So today, listeners, I'm actually recording from a little, what do you call these things? Is this a pod? I'm in a pod. If
Maybe.
you're watching on a broadcast, you'll see that I'm in this little room and it's soundproof. It's got aircon coming into it, so you may hear that in the background. And I'm part of sitting in the Townsville Smart Precinct.
And why did you need to go and have one of those quiet rooms, Justine,
because
as opposed to recording at home?
I'm not at home at the moment, Al. I'm actually staying with my son and daughter-in-law and their two little babies. So my grandsons, and Odin is 2.5 and Maxwell is 6 months old, so it's quite noisy there. And so to pick somewhere quiet and professional, let's say that, I've come down to the Smart Precinct and I love it at this place. I love working here, and sometimes the mindset of working in an office environment, you get a little bit more stuff done. So I'll be in here all day Thursday working as well rather than at home. So, yeah, that's why I'm here. But sorry you're down there in the cold.
It's okay. I've got my heaters going, so I'm all good. And I've got my beanie on, so I'm fine.
So does cold affect you or are you heat affected?
I'm a little bit of both. Because I've got poor circulation as well, which, a lot of us do, I find that I stay cold a lot, particularly in the extremities. Whereas I do get heat affected and that tends to scramble my brain function. Yep. So I'm like all over the place. If you tried to talk to me, if I'm heat affected, I'm usually kind of out of it. But otherwise I get kind of short. I'm like really quite frustrated and I'm like, I just want to escape from this space. Like I feel trapped in my own brain. And yeah, my legs tend to not play the way that I want them to play, so they just stop working properly, and it's from all those years of damage that I had. But yeah, so I try to make sure that I'm trying to keep a little bit cool, but not too cool that the extremities don't work. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating. And you're a bit different. You don't get the heat affected, you get cold affected.
Look, sometimes the heat does affect me and I feel nauseated from it. But the majority of the time I'm cold affected, extremely cold affected. And because fatigue's one of my major symptoms as well, not that most people realize that, but it is. When I'm really fatigued, my body just can't warm up. And I am cold to the bone throughout my whole body. And the only way I can pretty much warm up is hop in a shower, but then having enough energy to strip off and sit in a hot shower. But I'm also like hypersensitive and my temperatures or my skin's all out. So I have to be really careful as to not burn myself in the shower, which has happened in the past. So I normally stick my tongue out And if I can handle the water temperature on my tongue, I know that I'm not going to scald my body because I can't swallow really hot things anymore because my whole throat just clamps up when I try and swallow anything hot. So I figure that my tongue is the best form of temperature measurement when I'm in the shower. But I've just
Yeah, right.
I bought a couple of years ago under consumables through NDIS actually an electric throw rug, and I live in winter with the heater on 24, sitting under it, and the electric throw rug on 7. And I find
Yeah.
that if I can keep my body warm, my fatigue then isn't quite so bad either.
And
So,
it's because like your body's otherwise like it's working. It's actually under stress trying to
mm,
keep your body kind of going. So when you add in stress of trying to keep that homeostasis, that temperature, that body temperature that we're, that most normal people are just like, yeah, well, that's just normal. Like it's easy, right? Your body just does it. And for us, it's like, no, our body's working 24/7 trying to keep up. We're trying to
what's
get
your
that done.
core body temperature on a good day? Have you ever tracked what your core body temperature is? Because I have. It's very interesting.
As in just putting a thermometer in my mouth, like, well,
Under your
mine's,
arm.
yeah,
See,
mine's normal. Mine's pretty normal. Although not that I've done it sort of recently to check, but when I've had like fevers or something in the past, it's always that sort of normal kind of range. So yeah, the doctors aren't sort of going like, oh my God, yours was in the negatives, Allyson. What's going on?
see, that's me. I'll go in and I'm like 35.5. And they're like,
Right.
all right. And I'm like, yeah, today's a good day. Why? Oh, your body temperature's down. I said, oh, no, that's actually, a little bit up for me. I've been as low as like 35.1, which is like hypothermia kind of stuff happening.
Yeah, that's right.
And
And it really is. I mean, I don't know whether that kind of thing can cause like frostbite or anything like that in your toes or feet or fingers or anything like that. But
no, but
yeah, it's not going to be
yeah,
good for your body, right?
but that's the problem is that my core body temperature is a lot lower, and I just can't.
Yeah.
And that happens especially like when I'm sick and if I've got an infection or stress on my body. And we're going to talk about stress today, in particular of what stress and MS. They're not friends; they are foes.
They are not friends by any stretch of the imagination.
No. So, Elle, what happens with you when your body's under stress?
Um, Look, there's a few different things. I want to just briefly mention when I was first ever diagnosed, I was in a stressful relationship at the time, and I was under significant stress for various reasons, partly because I was in the second year of my PhD research, which is pretty full on as well. Yeah. So this was kind of the trigger. The emotional stress that I was under was actually sort of, I like to think of it like the straw that broke the camel's back and gave me an MS diagnosis, because usually your body's under some kind of stress and then, a big amount of stress, boom, all of a sudden you get a diagnosis like MS. And a lot of people talk about the fact that they had this significant stress at the time before they got that diagnosis. So that was a big thing. So I knew that emotional stress was a big trigger for me. Financial stress is also a bit of a trigger for me too. And, recently I'm actually getting a bit of neuropathy, a bit of numbing and tingling in my legs and a bit of numbing, tingling in my hands from, emotional stress again, going through that. So I'm sort of aware of that and how that can manifest in my body, but it manifests in a lot of different ways. And, as far as stress goes, it releases cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And it means that our body goes into that fight or flight response a lot of the times. And when it's in that state, it can either be in a state of healing or a state of stress, and it kind of can't be both. So I know that at the moment when I'm in this sort of stress state, I know that my body's working a lot harder to kind of keep things normal. So it's quite detrimental to our bodies. What kind of stress have you sort of experienced?
When I get an infection, that puts stress on my body. And every time I get a UTI or a sinus infection, as we know, I've had a sinus infection for, I don't know, 15 months now, thanks long COVID and mast cell activation syndrome in there, which goes hand in hand with MS as well now they've discovered, that it flares up my symptoms. So any stress on my body just enhances everything. So my legs will go funny. I've noticed that my walking's a bit off pat. As we know, a couple of weeks ago I had a fall from it. My vision will go funny just from the extra stress in my life. Now it can be emotional stress or, work stress, or I'm doing too much and I'm putting too much stress on my whole physical body from that. The word slow is not in my vocabulary, as you well know.
So true.
Time for another job today, so we'll see if I get that one.
Right, just to add to the list of jobs that you need on your plate.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
On my bucket list for a little while, and the opportunities presented itself, so I applied for it today. So I'll let you know.
Okay. So it's probably, the Queen of Australia, I'd say. That's the next kind of level up, isn't it?
So yeah, look, stress and MS, I eat as well when I'm under stress. Some would say I've had a very stressful life with how fat I've been in the past. Eating the wrong food puts stress on my body and makes me...
That's a vicious cycle too, right? Because you eat when you're stressed, and then you get stressed when you eat, and then you eat, and then you get stressed, and it's like it's a really vicious cycle.
I just spent 5 days with my daughter and her sons, 3 of them. So my daughter, her partner, and their 4 children from the age of 18 months. Well, actually, he's 2 next week, I should say. 2 up to 11, and I've had 2 of them in my room at the resort. And I tell you what, it was stressful, without a doubt. Just the wrong food choices.
Yeah, and that takes its toll on your body. Yeah, it takes its toll on your body for sure. And, these things add up. So, they're all little bits of inflammation that are happening. I know you mentioned before about when you get into the shower, sometimes, you have a problem with the temperature of the water. And I sort of have the opposite problem in a way. So I get, in states of stress, I get temperature sensitivity, but it's usually to cold. So if I turn the water on and it's like freezing cold at the beginning, right, and you're sort of waiting for it to warm up, if I get splashes of water on my legs, it's like needles going into my legs.
So mine's like razor blades slicing through my legs. So as the water runs down, and if it's cold water, razor blades just, and I just imagine like the fat opening up down there, and you just can't stand in the shower. It's just, but it doesn't in the bath.
Right. Okay.
My problem is I can't get out of the bath. The inside bath I can't. The outside bath I can, because it's deeper and I can got more rails and stuff to get up. But the inside bath, no, I can't get out of. So if I have a bath at home by myself, I'm screwed. I'm stuck there.
Yeah, and it's really about like that planning ahead as well, and having, as you say, like the rails supports in place and things like that, or somebody that can help you to be able to do that, because it becomes a situation where it can be kind of unsafe for us to be able to do these things sometimes, and even in the shower. So sometimes my legs are unpredictable. Sometimes particularly my right leg, that was the original symptom I ever got, was my right leg was weak and it dropped out from under me. So
left side affected.
Your left side, yeah. So sometimes in the shower, I found that all of a sudden I'm standing and my right leg just sort of starts dropping out, which is really dangerous, right? You don't want to.
A chair.
That's what I was going to say. So now, funded through NGIS at the time, I got a shower chair so I can actually sit down to, have a shower. I've got one of those, the shower. the handheld shower kind of things, so that I can just use that over my body and I'm safe. Like I'm safe in that space, which is really, really good. So, for anybody that has trouble in the shower, I definitely would recommend having a shower stool in there. You can get specific ones for the shower, obviously, not just any old stool that goes in there. But yeah, they're amazing. They're really good.
And if you have got any old stool that is in there, you need to get rid of it and get a proper shower chair. And make sure that the ones that you're getting are weighted for your body weight, because they're all different weights on there. Also, if they start looking like they're rusting, don't try and clean it all off, because then the powder coat is actually compromised and the water's getting in and it's deteriorating the metal. It's time to upgrade and get a new one.
That's right, because you don't want to be sitting on it and all of a sudden there's rotted metal that's all of a sudden going to drop out from under you, because that's
right. You go through the shower screen or hit
that's just a huge problem.
That would happen to me, because bad things happen quite often in me hitting the ground.
You just love the ground. You just love the floor so much, don't you, Justine?
It's a long way to get off the ground as well.
I know. It can be tough. But, there's a lot of different things that can impact our stress. And what I find for me personally is that it just exacerbates previous damage in my body. So, I've had damage to my brain, to my optic nerve, to that affect the numbing, tingling, pins and needles, like we spoke about, functioning, all that sort of stuff.
There's that inflammation back around the myelin sheath where the scarring actually is, where the MS has attacked it, and that's
right.
So,
and that's the scar tissue. You're exactly right, scar tissue. If you think of any scar, like if you've got a scratch, it leaves a mark, right? It leaves a mark. So you can think about that on, your spinal cord or brain tissue. It's never going to heal 100% to the way it was. There's always going to be a little bit of scar tissue there, or a lot, depending on the damage.
Yeah, and stress will reactivate it. It can reactivate it. So, have a look in your own lives on what's causing you stress, and can you eliminate some of the stress out of that? And that might be, like for me, I know when I'm with certain people, that causes me a lot of stress. And so I try and limit the amount of time that I'm associating, with that person. Watching a horror movie causes me stress. I hate watching horror movies. And so that constant fight and fear in my body, it's like, well, no, I'm not going to be able to watch that, because I'm going to have the repercussions the next couple of days from it. Because quite often, if you're under stress in one moment of time, your MS isn't going to instantly be affected from it, but it'll be a few days or a week later that all of a sudden everything starts going haywire again. It's like, what have I done to myself? And that's normally...
And you can't always make the connection, right? You can't always make the connection. You sort of wake up a few days later and go, oh, I don't know what's happened. Something's wrong, but it might have been that stress from a few days ago. And I know you've mentioned in the past too, like watching the news, sometimes those horror stories on the news, or I find at the moment, whether it's like the financial increases to our mortgage rates and everything is just doing my head in and causing me lots of stress, because I'm like, when will it end? But this has an impact. This definitely has an impact. So what other things can people do to kind of protect themselves from that stress?
I think, self-care is really important when you're experiencing stress. Now, I haven't had a massage in a couple of weeks and my body's screaming for it. So I'm going to see in the next 2 days if I can get a massage while I'm up here. Otherwise, I've just realised I've got no appointments in the next couple of weeks at home either. So I'll be ringing up my masseuse and seeing when I can get in next week with her.
Yeah, perfect.
Look, just taking time out of your day and doing something for you. I want to mention sleep. I think sleep is underrated in every way, shape, or form. Sleep is probably, are you getting enough sleep at night time? What about you? What's your sleeping pattern?
So I try to go to bed, get into bed quite early. So it's usually around about 9:30 that I'll actually get into bed. And then I've got about sort of half an hour that I usually wind down. But I basically am aiming to be asleep by about 10 because my body, so you know this as well, Justine. So any sleep that you get before midnight is worth double the amount after midnight. So if I get 2 hours of sleep before 12, it's equivalent to me sleeping from 12 to 4, which if you've ever done it before, what I do is I go to sleep at 10.
Last night. Can I say what happened last night?
Yeah, I go ahead.
So for the last 5 nights, because I've been, not last night, but the 5 nights previous, I've been having to share the room with like my 2 grandies, the older 2. And they both snore. I'm going to say it. Oh, anyway, they both snore. And plus other bodily wind things as well. Anyway, I've not slept well for 5 nights, and I know that it has stressed my body and my brain and my concentration and all of that. So last night it was 9:30, and I'm now staying with Zach and Amelia. And I'm like, I've got to go to bed. And they're like, what? Zach's like, that's early for you, Mum, because I'm normally closer to midnight girl. Allison's been telling me off for a while now. I've got to go to bed earlier, and I've been working on it. About 9:30 last night, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to bed. I've got to sleep. So off to bed I went. I woke up at 12:30. Could have sworn it was 7:30 this morning, right?
I know, it feels so good, right?
And then went, oh, my bloody bladder, because I drank a whole heap of water later in the day, which I know that you shouldn't do, but I did, and then had to get up and pee, and then went back to bed, and then went straight back to sleep until 7:30 this morning. And I've woken up today, and I'm like, oh, I feel clearer in the head already from it. So it definitely makes a difference.
Oh my God, it is. And I love what you just said about that you wake up at midnight, because this is what happens to me. I have like 2 hours of like amazing deep sleep, and I wake up thinking, oh, it must be about 5. And then I look at the clock and it's midnight. I'm like, oh, yes, I still get to go back to sleep. It's the best feeling in the world. But yeah, I do need to go to the bathroom. But as soon as I get back from that, I'm back to sleep. Which feels amazing. So, and you wake up much more refreshed, much better off. So if you can get yourself into a good sleeping habit, because sleep's an anti-inflammatory process, right? So
it heals the body.
It does. It kind of is like it takes out the garbage, like all the dead cells from the day, like it gets rid of all that stuff. It renews a lot of cells. And so even like I like to think of the example, like if you've ever gone to bed with like a swollen ankle or something like that, the next morning when you wake up, the swelling's decreased. And it's because this sleep has actually given it the chance to be an anti-inflammatory process, reduce that swelling down. So it's kind of like what happens with your body. So hugely anti-inflammatory, hugely tick, 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 tick for getting more sleep. It's one of the best things that you can possibly do to reduce that stress and everything.
It's easier to cope with. But if you're not getting a full night's sleep when you've got MS, your fatigue levels the next day will be exorbitant. They will be huge. And I found, I didn't sleep through the night for the first 10 years of having my MS and like prior to being diagnosed. And then I went and got prescription CBD oil and slept through the night for the first time and woke up the next day going, whoa, what was that? My whole life changed because of it, because I get quality sleep. Now, I am one of these people that will go, oh, I don't need that anymore. I'm sleeping really well. I'm going really well. I don't need to take my oil, or I've run out and I'm waiting on my prescription to come. And then all of a sudden the insomnia comes back and I am, as I like to say, pinging. I am wide awake.
You're tired but wired. But wired.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm still up going, what the hell? What is going on? And that's like, oh, just tomorrow night.
And it stresses you out because you're like, I just need to go to sleep. Come on, I'm so tired. Just go to sleep. Justine, just go to sleep. And your brain just keeps like telling you off basically for not going to sleep. And it's not helpful at all. But sleep, definitely try to get your quality sleep.
Sleep and water. So I also find if I'm not drinking enough water, I'm putting so much stress on my body from it as well. And, so many people will go for a Panadol when all they need is the glass of water.
Yeah. And to overcome it, keep one of these guys. This is a water bottle for anyone just listening to the audio.
And
A
I
water bottle. Keep it handy. Yeah, that's right. So just keep it handy and just keep drinking. And drink before you need to drink, because when you need a drink, you're actually over thirsty, over dehydrated.
Yeah, you're dehydrated if you actually get to the point where it's like, oh, I need a drink of water. And don't drink sugar drinks in replace of your water either, because that doesn't any good. And for every cup of coffee you drink, you have to have an additional 4 glasses of water to keep hydrated. So people think that by having coffee, it actually fixes their headache. And a lot of the cases is it's just making you more dehydrated and you need to drink more water. But yeah, I find that if I'm adequately, God, I don't even know if that word was right. That just
You
came
know
out there.
the word. Adequately. Look, I'm tongue-tying it as well. Adequately, if you're properly hydrated.
We'll change the word. That's an MS brain fart for me. That then I can cope with things a lot better as well. People say
This
to
is
me,
actually a stress. If your body is dehydrated, you're actually causing stress at a cellular level, right? So your body, your cells are actually having a problem to create those reactions in your body that they need to just function. So yeah, dehydration is actually a stress on the body.
if you're constipated, and we're going to get into the poo side of things here, if you're constipated, a lot of the time it's because you're not actually drinking enough water and your body is draining all the water out of your poo and making it too solid to actually then pass. So if you're adequately hydrated, that will help with the whole pooping thing.
So I know we aren't going to necessarily talk poop, but I am going to give my absolute key to fixing constipation. So I just need to preface this by saying I've been chronically having bowel issues since I was a kid. Not realizing I didn't drink water back then. I kind of felt like, if I had a can of Coke, that was mainly water, so that was fine, right? So this was kind of my growing up, and I was always chronically constipated. And since getting MS with the spinal cord damage, with my chronic use of painkillers, I have a sluggish bowel, and constipation was a big thing, right? So I have tried medications, I have tried supplements, I've tried X, Y, Z, you name it, and I've tried it. And I got to the stage where I was dependent on laxatives to get my bowels to move, right? Since I went on my whole health trip, I was like, you know what? I just don't want to be having laxatives anymore. So I have a solution that has worked for me, works for my clients, and it's amazing. It's so simple. I basically have a cup of what's called Kapai Puku. It's Kapa, yeah, Kapai, Puku. And basically, it's just a mixture of nuts and seeds. So it's a mixture of like buckwheat, sunflower seeds, pepitas, chia seeds, and linseeds, flax seeds. And it's basically just a mixture of that. And I have a cup of that at night before I go to bed. And the next morning, guess what? Active bowels. And it happens like clockwork. Amazing.
That's good that you've discovered that. I can't have that, but that's good that you've had that, because they're all high histamine foods, and that would kill me over in absolute pain. But
have you tried activating the nuts as well to make them a little bit more easy on your digestion at all?
No, the nuts are a high histamine, so it's not the digestion problem. It then just activates all this in here. I'm pointing to my nose and my face, everyone, because you won't be able to see me doing that. So yeah, I'm nuts and seeds. I just find if I keep enough water going through my system and enough fiber, so that's high fiber what you're giving it, then I will poop every morning. Without a doubt. But then I do have MS bowels as well, and I can go from being, bunged up to diarrhea in a matter of a very short time with it as well. So again, food related, and and MS related in there as well. But it's all stress on the body as well. But, if you're sitting there and you are, some of this is resonating with you, you're under a lot of stress at the moment, and you've got no one to talk to, go to your doctor and get a mental health care plan done is a very good place to start in seeking some counselling. Or if you want to chat to me, under the resilience coaching, and I offer that for NDIS clients as well as the general population, make contact and we can have a bit of a chat about reducing the stress in your own life. And I know Allison's only too eager to help everyone with their diets as well on there, aren't you, Allyson?
Yeah, Len, look, diet does have a big role in stress and inflammation. And, unknowingly, we sort of have inflammatory diets these days. Sort of modern diets are quite inflammatory. And we don't even realize that it's causing stress and inflammation in our bodies. So, but reducing that down by, as you say, getting a massage done, doing things that make you happy. Today, I actually I'm going to take an hour out and just do a guided meditation. And it was just a free app that I use. Insight Timer is the one that I was using today. And it was just nice to have a guided meditation, do some breathing exercises and kind of just get the stress levels to go from up here just to like calm down and just be like, okay, now I can handle the next task, can handle the next thing. But yeah, that self-care is just so, so important.
It is. I mean, I can instantly feel when I'm under stress and I don't like it. And that's a feeling that I used to live by every single day from it. And it's not until you start eliminating things out of your world, so stress, high sugar foods and, things that cause the inflammation in your body, and then you occasionally go and put them back in, that you notice the difference. It's like, hang on, I felt this before. I lived like this before. How did I live like this before? I ate that high sugar, high fat, refined sugar diet. And I know the last 5 days of eating poor choices on menus, it's going to affect me immensely. And Amelia said to me this morning, what do you want for dinner tonight? I said, just chicken breast and veggies, green veggies, just chicken breast and green veggies. That's it. She goes, oh, any potatoes? No, not tonight. I just want green vegetables. When you go away on holidays and you eat takeaway or, meals that you don't prepare, you're just hanging for veggies when you go home. So I'm at that stage, and the stress that it's put on my body, and just to even go into a restaurant or a food court at the moment, it's just like, oh God, I can't do that. Give me some home cooked fresh meals.
Yeah. And your body, like as you said, like if you've come from that place before and, it kind of was not white noise beforehand, you didn't notice that you were under stress or your body wasn't functioning properly. Then you kind of step out of it and you start eating healthy and doing the right thing by your body. And then if you step back into it, your brain goes, whoa, 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 what are you doing? I actually was feeling really good before. What's changed? Like, go back to what we were doing before. Veggies. And it starts to trigger these kind of like, remember how we felt good? Go back to that. So it can be funny how your brain, once you start tuning into your body, you start listening for those triggers, listening for those signals. And your body is an amazing little machine. It can actually tell us a lot of information if we tuned into listening to it. So I love that you've listened to your body and it's saying veggies, veggies, veggies. So yeah, that's really good.
And exercise as well. So, I'm away, I'm not exercising like I normally would, my 3 gym workouts a week and the extra walking. I have been doing walking, but it hasn't been of quality, so to speak. So, my 2K I do every couple of days. I haven't been doing that. I walked at Magnetic Island and around some shopping centres and up and down to the airport last night. But, yeah, not my normal quality walking. And I know that affects, the stress on my body and that as well. I always find that, if I am under a little bit of emotional stress or physical stress, then lifting heavy weights is the way that I, pump that out. And that'll be me on Monday when I head back next week to do that.
And it's
So,
really like that combination of like physical stress versus that emotional stress. And sometimes, a little bit of exercise, a lot of exercise can be really stressful to your body, but a little bit of exercise just gives it enough stress to actually push a little bit into it's kind of like good stress, I suppose, if that makes sense.
release the endorphins in your brain. So those feel good endorphins when you're doing exercise, and that's what we want as well. And that promotes a healthy mind as well as that healthier body. So,
Yeah.
well, Allyson, we might wrap it up today. We're on our time limit. We're trying to keep it listeners to around about between 30 to 40 minutes on each of these without us raving on too much each week. So remember that if there's a specific topic or a question that you would like us to answer, just email either one of us. And Allyson, what's your email?
You can email me at info@everheal.com.au.
Or you can email me at hello@justinemartin.com.au, and we'll get those questions and we'll answer them as best as we possibly can. So until next time, listeners, stay healthy.
Tired of chronic illness and fatigue? Everheal's guided diet and lifestyle programs can help you reclaim your energy and transform your health. Visit everheal.com.au for a free health assessment today.
With over 11 years public speaking expertise, Justine thrives on delivering a powerful and empowering keynote to audiences of all sizes. From a packed room of 500 people to an intimate gathering of 50 people, Justine will command the room with her inspiring journey and engaging anecdotes. Email hello@justinemartin.com.au to book Justine for your next event.